Wow.
Nalie with the analogy.
See, that's a show right there.
Hi, I'm Nalie, and welcome to The Nalie Show, where I help you beat your battles and be the best version of you. One of my favorite quotes says that you are the average of the 5 people that you most associate with. I really do believe that we're shaped by our environment, whether it's the people that we hang out with or the neighborhoods that we grow up in. But what happens if you grow up in a bad neighborhood surrounded by people who influence you in a negative way? Here to prove to you that you can be whoever you want to be is Svens Telemaque, author, speaker, and spoken word artist. Svens once lived a life of crime, with 6 arrests, several funerals, a kidnap attempt, gun possession charges, and drug dealing. But he found his escape through poetry, entrepreneurship, and now teaches others that they can succeed and achieve whatever they want despite their adversity. Together, we are going to give you 5 tips to find your power. Please welcome Svens Telemaque. Can we just start off by clearing up the air? A failed kidnap attempt you wrote in your bio? What does that mean?
When I was 17 and throughout my whole criminal time, I was the youngest person doing what I was doing because I was always hanging around the older people. Yeah. So they used to call me Jit or Jitterbug. So on this street where I was selling dope, there was somebody else from another neighborhood and he was watching me. And as he's watching me making this money, he's like, yo, he's just a young little guy making his cash. You feel me, right? So at a certain point, he starts to plot. And he starts to scheme, and we have beef because I'm like, yo, you can't sell drugs here. Because his mom lives there, but that's not his hood. That's not really his territory. So we start to have beef. He starts pumping drugs, I'm pumping drugs. Time goes on, and he's trying to plot. They get 2 other people involved. They get a driver, and they get a gunman to try to take me. But before they try to take me, literally seconds before they try to take me, his little brother, who happens to be my friend, he tells me, yo, watch out. Cars are gonna pull up, they're gonna try to take you. So as I'm chilling on the block, I'm doing my thing, I just got this news. A car pulls up. A guy comes out that I've never seen before. And you know, everybody was wearing white tees back in the day, so I could see the pistol bulging out of his waistline. My pistol was far away, it's like up in the shed. So as the guy approaches me, I take off. And as I take off, they jump in the car and they go around the corner trying to catch me, and I'm just jumping gates.
What do you think would have happened to you if they took you?
Man, straight up, they would have took me to my house, make me give up some money, and I don't know what would have happened after that.
But how do you start living this life of crime? You were so young. I know you grew up in Florida, correct? Yeah. How do you get into this?
Well, if I bring you back, one of the first things that really got to me was when I was 12. Yeah. You're familiar with the rain, right? Yes. After the rain comes what? Yeah, but sometimes after the rain you get puddles. Well, most of the time you get puddles. I was used to puddles, but I never seen a puddle of blood before. So one day, my mom doesn't feel like it's safe for us to, sleep at home. So she's like, we're gonna sleep at a friend's house. So as we go to this friend's house, it's an apartment complex, and there's a big puddle of blood. My mom makes it seem like she can't even see it. We go inside. She sleeps in one room. I'm in another room, and I'm hearing my mom cry. And I feel like I'm weak. I feel like I'm not a man. I feel like I'm nothing. Why? Because hours before, what happened was some thieves ran inside my house. While my mom was bringing in the groceries, I came in, I put the groceries there. My mom's purse was already on the counter. Thief ran inside, took her purse. I'm fighting with the guy. He just tosses me on the side. I'm chasing the guy down. He gets to his car, and then all that adrenaline just goes away and fear sets in, and I'm like, is he gonna hit me? Does he have a gun? And then I go home and I have to tell my mom, yo, we've been robbed. And crime, well, my mom, she had an illegal lottery. That's how she used to pay the bills. I never had my papers. Mom never had her papers. So that situation just made me so angry, and I felt like, you know what? The reason why these folks came inside my house was because I didn't have a gun, not because I was too young. You get me? So at 12 years old, I'm thinking about murder. I'm thinking about how I'm gonna get this. I just don't want to see these people come into my house again.
So definitely fear. Fear is what got you to live that life of having gun possessions, of dealing drugs. You think fear is what
I wouldn't
would
call
drive you?
that first feeling, I wouldn't call it fear, but anger. But you know, they say under anger there's another emotion.
Yeah.
So it could have been fear. But for me, I was just really angry, and I just wanted to make sure that they could never just violate us like that again.
You speak, and like, I just see a movie unravel in my mind. I don't know if you guys are on the same page as me. Clearly, you're a poet. How did you get into poetry?
I got into poetry because when I started rapping, I used to rap before. When I started rapping, I had a problem with stage presence. I was scared. I heard a spoken word, and there's an amazing person called Will the Real One. I wanted to build my stage presence, so I went to his show, and I just started doing open mic. I started doing poetry there, and it just felt great. You know, it's just like rapping without a beat, and people could really understand what I was saying more. They were not just getting lost with the music, they were getting lost with my words.
When you grow up in a bad environment, surrounded by crime, surrounded, like your mother was already living a life of crime, how would you say you would get out of it? Because you moved to Canada after. Was that the one big thing that changed your life, having to take that step to move, or what happened before?
It's two things. The first thing was changing my perception, you know, because even if I change my environment, if I have the same mentality, I'm gonna end up doing the same thing again. But if I change my perception, I'm good. But once you change your perception, sometimes the second thing you have to do is change your environment. And that happened to me the last time because I got robbed. You know, I changed my life. I started selling clothes, shoes, perfume, cars at the auction, whatever I could do. And some people set me up, they robbed me. I almost died in that robbery. And then I was like, you know what? This area is not ideal for my success. It's ideal for my failure. So I'm like, I got to start from scratch. But didn't know anything about Canada, didn't speak French. So it's like coming over here, it's cold. I don't know nobody, but
It's really cold.
yeah. So I had to do what I had to do.
You call yourself an international arms dealer. How so?
Well, because I arm people with love, hope, and faith. Most powerful weapon you could ever have.
I love that. And how do you do that?
I speak, I be vulnerable, I share, and I feel like it's not necessarily just me. It's me revealing that you have the same things. It's like kindling that stuff that you have on the inside of you. You know what I mean? So it's like lighting people up and showing them that, you know, you have the same thing too.
So Svens wrote a book called Pen of a Ready Writer.
Yeah.
And we both met at the Montreal Community Cares Awards. And as soon as you met me, you gave me that book and you said, "You're Rose." What did that mean?
Rose, for me, represents a woman that just blossoms. You know, despite everything, she just blossoms, and that's what I see in you.
At the end of the night, you handed me a box of crayons. Why did you give me that box of crayons?
I totally understand being an incredible individual like you and being someone that is always emptying out yourself and you're being positive and you're helping everybody. I'm quite sure you receive so many different gifts. So I wanted to give you something that you would never expect, catch you off guard.
I was totally caught off guard. He whipped out this box of crayons and he was like, "Here, this is for you." And he said, "You'll understand." And now you have a new book coming out called Broken Crayons Still Color.
Yeah.
And that's also your movement, isn't it?
Yeah.
What does Broken Crayons Still Color mean to you?
Broken Crayon Still Color means to me that no matter how broken you may be, because somebody touched you, because you saw your mom get beat up, because you've been in and out of jail, because your sister got pregnant, because whatever it is that broke you on the inside, out, physical, emotional, whatever, if you could take the broken pieces from a crayon and color, guess what? You can color with your life too, and you can show everybody, you know, community, society, and the world your greatness.
I love that analogy, and it's so true. And usually broken crayons are the ones that color the best. So you clearly believe that people can change.
Definitely.
Do you believe you changed?
Yes.
Yes, in what way?
In almost every way. Like if you see a picture of me before, like there's an aura in that picture that is just not there anymore. Like it'd be hard for you to believe that was me.
Okay, and what do you think you appreciate the most about your change? What was the biggest life lesson?
Just how incredible the power of choice is.
I love that. And I love how you proved that we all have that power. And that's why I invited you on the show today, because I really wanted to prove to you that no matter what your past is, no matter what you're going through, you have to stop making excuses. because clearly you had a pretty crazy, messed up past. But look where you are today. You're just in Halifax empowering the youth. You're on the show with me now, empowering you. There's no excuses to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. And how to find that power? Well, Svens is here to give you 5 tips to find your power. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. Number 1.
1. Search on your own acres of diamonds. A lot of the times when we're looking for our power, we're looking everywhere else except ourselves because we feel like we don't contain any. We feel like there's no potential in us. But if you listen to the story of Acres of Diamonds, it's a story of someone basically traveling to a distant land trying to find diamonds. All the while he had acres of diamonds in him. So make sure you dig and start with you.
What does a diamond represent exactly?
I see diamonds as raw potential. A lot of the times we don't look deep inside of us because we have to go through layer and layer, a layer of what? Insecurity.
Number 2.
Kindle your passion and your frustration. A lot of the times people will have you thinking that your power lies only in your passion, so find your passion. But there's another side to the coin. What about your frustration? If I'm frustrated because I'm tired of seeing a lack of justice, that frustration is enough to push me through law school. That frustration is enough to push you to become a detective like my good friend. He catches people that are involved with human trafficking because he's frustrated with seeing this happen over and over again in the island of Montreal. So it's kindling that passion. Where do you feel like you're passionate and you feel powerful? Because where your passion is, you will find power. Where you're frustrated and angry, you will find power too.
I love that because people tend to repress or push away their frustrations or ignore them rather than dealing with them. Whereas you can totally use your frustration, right? And let it serve other people. Number 3.
Leave your comfort zone. Comfort zones are free from risk, but they're actually guardrails against possibility. If you never leave your comfort zone, you'll never realize the power that you have. And leaving your comfort zone, of course, is uncomfortable, but that's the only place you'll grow.
It's so true. You'll never discover your true power if you're constantly in the same bubble that you always are and you feel safe, but then how are you supposed to discover what you're capable of if you don't leave that safe zone? Number 4.
Change the narrative of your story. There's an amazing author and a woman by the name of Shauna Nyquist, and she had a quote about telling your own story and how sometimes it could be seen as a tragedy or an epic. And I feel like all too often I meet people, I'm quite sure you meet people, we meet people, and they have incredible stories. And the first thing that we do is we discount the stories that we have. And you know why? We're not the perfect person to tell our own autobiography. If I take your biography the way that it is, I guarantee you I can rewrite it and show you power that you didn't even know was there. The problem that I have with people too often is that they'll think that you have an amazing story. I don't have an amazing story. I can't impact people like you, but it's a lie. They have something that I call in my book selective amnesia. The majority of the people around us suffer from selective amnesia. What does that mean? No, I'm not a psychologist, but I guarantee you every time you go through something that is very traumatic, you try your best to forget it, and you get to a certain point where you forgot you even went through those certain events. And if you think back and you're like, wow, I went through that. That was tough. You realize that you have power there.
5.
Factor out your ego. You know, when we're young, we feel like our value comes from a name brand. Our value comes from, where I live or who I know or what people think about me. But in the long run, what we do is we end up hiding behind things. And when you hide behind things, you only become smaller. If you're young, if you're really young, if you don't get it, man, you'll have a principal or a teacher or someone that's older, they'll hide behind a Mercedes sign because they want to feel like they relate to the brand or they have something to do with luxury. Some people hide behind perfume. Some people hide behind a job description. But what makes you great has nothing to do with your ego, but everything to do with your character. Letting go of your ego is going to be a daily thing because it's not easy. Being at base and knowing that it's not about none of those things. It's not about what people think about you. Never get hype off public success, but focus on having private success. You feel me? And that's the most important thing.
I feel you because it all goes back to what you said in the interview about finding your why.
Exactly.
And once you let go of the ego and you stick to your why, all the rest doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Those are your 5 tips to find your power. I already feel really empowered, so thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Nalie. It's been a blessing.
So we're gonna play a game called Word Blount.
Okay.
I figured you're a spoken word artist and you're really quick with your words and analogies. On these cards are words, and whatever the first word comes to mind, when you see it, you gotta blurt it out.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do it at the same time as you.
Okay.
And hopefully, I feel like we're connected.
Okay.
Right?
For sure.
Hopefully we're gonna at least have one where we say the same thing.
All right, for sure.
Mount Royal. I said Mount Royal because raccoons are always at Mount Royal. Ready? Man.
S'mores.
Marshmallow Man. Do you know the Marshmallow Man?
No.
Am I the only one who knows the Marshmallow Man? Ghostbusters! Thanks, Justin. President.
4, 5. Yeah, I won't say his name. He doesn't deserve it.
Date.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what Tinder is for?
That's what Tinder is for.
Okay.
8
C.
ball.
Why 8 ball?
That's it.
Eyeball, 8 ball. Because an 8 ball looks like an eyeball?
Kind of.
Poet. Oops.
I did it again.
Oh my God, I was just gonna say that. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, so we good.
I was gonna sing that,
Yeah?
but then I'm like, you might judge me. Oops, I did it again.
I play with your heart. I'm not that innocent.
Got lost in the game.
Well, I don't know all
Oh,
the lyrics.
baby. We're connected. I'm a spoken word artist as well.
That's what's up.
Thank you very much. And now it is time for the random question. Go ahead.
I'm trying to cheat because I actually can read. Why is this one looking at me? If you could have any feature from an animal, what would you want? Simple. Swim. I can't swim.
You can't swim.
Nah.
So which animal would you want to be to swim? Oh, feature?
Yeah, just a swim.
You don't want to swim in a particular way, like a dolphin, like with all the tricks? No? Like, no?
Nah.
Yeah, he just wants to swim.
I just want
Like,
to swim, period.
give me that talent and I'll be good.
Yeah.
Great
I
answer.
drowned too many times.
So now we have a question for you. What is your power? Don't be shy. Let us know in the comment section below. If you want to follow Svens, all his information is linked below. He has a new book coming out, so be sure to follow his journey. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to check out my vlogs, they're up there. Missed the last episode, it's down there. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a video. Be patient, be kind to yourself.
Be true and be.